Now, this first area of the reserve we're going to enter into is known as the Little Ituri Forest. Now, the animals here in the forest, they do a really good job of blending in with their environment, so we're going to have to keep a close eye out, and we'll see what we can see in the last rule before we head out there on the safari, as we are visiting the animals in their home territory. So, of course, we want to be respectful to them, and that just means no yelling, screaming, whistling, clicking noises at the animals. A lot of times those noises can actually scare them and make them even harder to spot. But we're going to go ahead and head on into the reserve now. Well, it looks like there might be an animal that is crossing the road right away in the reserve there. Let's see. If you look out there on your right-hand side, the first animal you're probably going to notice is the okapi. That's the dark brown animal with the striped hind legs. And it looks like the animal that was crossing the road is that saddle-billed stork there on your right-hand side, just got by the water there. Now the okapi, because of his stripes, a lot of people think it's a relative of the zebra. But actually, the okapi is the only known relative to the giraffe. Like the giraffe, it has a long prehensile tongue, which means it can use its tongue to grab things like leaves. The saddle-billed stork there on the right-hand side, it can reach a height of 5 feet, have a wingspan of about 9 feet, and although it can't vocalize like a lot of birds can, it still communicates with others of its kind by rattling its bill around. Now we are passing an animal watering hole here, and those are usually pretty good places to spot some animals. And I can see a black rhino. It's directly in front of us on the top of this hill here. We're going to try and find the best angle we can to spot it. It looks like something may have crossed the road again in front of us. The black rhino is currently directly in front of us. Well, it'll be on our left-hand side in just a few moments. Now, the black rhino, it can reach a weight of 3,000 pounds and run at a speed of 35 miles per hour. It's not in the best spot. Try and see if we can get another glimpse of it here, coming around this corner. But there are some bongo and some greater kudu on the right-hand side. The bongo are the almost orangey animals on the top of the hill there. The greater kudu are the lighter gray ones. And you can tell that these are all females because the greater kudu, only the males will grow horns and those don't have horns. And you can see the black rhino a little bit better there on your left-hand side, kind of behind the truck. Unfortunately, there are only about 5,000 black rhino left in the entire world due to poaching. And if you spotted the bongo hiding on the top of the hill there with their fancy horns, they are known as the ghosts of the forest. So now you can say you saw some ghosts while you were on Kilimanjaro safaris. But now we're heading out of the Little Ituri Forest. And it looks like we're heading towards Safi River. Now, Safi River is a pretty large body of water. So there's sometimes some pretty large animals that can be found here. We will keep an eye out. And if you look out there on your left-hand side, you can see an entire bloat of Nile hippopotamus, including a baby hippo mixed in with a bunch there. Wow. Now, the Nile hippo is one of the largest and most dangerous animals in all of Africa. They can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes. And although they are excellent swimmers, they don't like to swim. They usually prefer to sink to the bottom of the water and then walk or run along the water's bottom. Those birds there on the island on our left-hand side are the pink-backed pelican, which get their name from the fact that their backs will turn pink during mating season. And it is still kind of early in the day, but later tonight after the sun sets, the hippos are going to become more and more vocal. And a hippo vocalization is known as a wheeze honk. And hippo wheeze honks are about as unique as your and I's voices. Some hippos, they wheeze before they honk, some honk before they wheeze, and some hippos, they just honk. And if you keep looking out there on your left-hand side, you're going to be able to see the Nile crocodile. Now the Nile crocodile, they do have very powerful jaws. But they don't just use those jaws for catching prey. It also makes them excellent parents. They've been seen to rattle their eggs around in their mouths to encourage little ones to hatch. Well, now we're heading away from Safi River. And from what I can tell, it looks like we're heading towards the African savanna. Now, the African savanna does stretch for hundreds and hundreds of miles. So it's probably where we're going to spend the majority of our 2-week safari. And it is home to some of the world's largest and most famous animals. But before we see any animals, if you look out on your right-hand side, you're going to be able to see a baobab tree. Now, the baobab tree is also known as the upside-down tree due to the fact that its branches look like roots about 9 months out of the year. For a baobab tree to be that size, it has to be at least a couple thousand years old. And now we've entered the African savanna. And if you look out there on your right-hand side, it looks like the first animal we're going to be able to see is the Ankole cattle. That's this big cow with the super big horns on its head. Now, the Ankole cattle, they are the only domesticated animals you'll find on the reserve. The large horns on top of their heads are hollow, and they're comprised of a honeycomb structure that circulates blood to the top of their heads to help keep them cool in the savanna heat. They were also once symbols of wealth among certain tribes in Africa. And now it does look like there is an animal den there on our left-hand side, and it looks like that's the den of the African wild dogs. Also known as the painted dogs. We'll try and get a better view past this boulder right here. Now, don't let their cute little cuddly faces fool you. The African wild dogs are the #1 most successful predators in all of Africa. The reason they're so successful is they hunt in packs of 15 to 20 dogs, and they will chase their prey until it collapses from exhaustion. Now, also out there on your left-hand side, you're going to see some dark brown animals with some long, sharp horns on their heads. Those are the sable antelope. They're the signature animals here on the reserve, and they're one of the only antelope species that will actually fight back against predators. The way their horns grow, kind of arched, deters lions from jumping on top of their backs while hunting. Now, this Ankole cattle is super close to the road, and it's got some wide horns there. Hey, you put that head back in the grass. There we go. Creeped on by it. And it looks like there are some Maasai giraffe out and about on the savanna right now, including some baby giraffe. And these are Maasai giraffe. And what separates Maasai giraffe from other subspecies is they have messier and darker colored spots in their coats. There's also one on our left-hand side here, and he is doing what giraffe do best, and that's eating. Giraffes spend about 16 to 20 hours of their day just eating. That doesn't leave a lot of time for much else, so giraffes only spend about 30 minutes of their day sleeping. And they only sleep for a couple minutes at a time, and they like to sleep standing up. Now, you may have noticed that these giraffes have some pretty long necks, but it might surprise you to learn that they actually have the same amount of neck vertebrae we do, which is just 7. And giraffes don't just have large necks, they also have very large hearts. And I mean that both figuratively and literally. A giraffe heart is about 1.5 feet long. Now, when a baby giraffe is born, it's born at 6 feet tall.
Oh my God.
And it can stand up after just 1 hour of being born. You may have noticed the bumps on top of the giraffe's heads. Those are not horns, they're something called ossicones. And when a baby giraffe is born, their ossicones are soft and flat on their heads. That helps the mother out a little bit during childbirth. And then as the baby ages, the cartilage in the ossicones hardens. It turns into bone, and it fuses into their skulls to become like the ossicones on the adult giraffe. And it does look like we got to see an entire tower of Maasai giraffe. That's what a group of giraffe is known as, a tower. And if you saw, you may have noticed their prehensile tongue. I mentioned at the beginning of their safari, and it is a very dark purple color. And that dark purple color actually helps protect it from getting sunburned
You're gonna
from
have
being
to,
out in the
you
sun
have
on
to
the
pull out your
savannah.
camera. What percentage you want?
Now you're also going to see some little guys that kind of look like s'mores out here on the right hand side. These are the springbok, one of the top 10 fastest land mammals in the entire world. They can reach a speed of 60 miles per hour and jump 13 feet straight in front of them with a single leap. The dark gray animals mixed in with them, those are the white-bearded wildebeest, which make one of the largest land migrations in the entire world. You're also going to see these tan animals here on our right-hand side. These are Patterson's eland. Both of these are clearly females because the male Patterson's eland would be a lot larger and a little bit darker in color. The male could reach a weight of 2,000 pounds, which makes them one of the largest species of antelope. And it does look like we are going to get one last look of some Maasai giraffe here on our left-hand side. Looks like they're also part of the tower that we just saw of the giraffe.
Unique.
Now, this rock formation we're approaching, this is commonly referred to as Monkey Point. And it does look like something pretty large passed through Monkey Point recently and toppled this tree on the right-hand side over in half. And I think I can already catch a glimpse of the animal that is probably responsible for doing that. Coming up on our right-hand side, you are going to be able to see an African elephant. Now, whenever we see elephant, one of the ways you can tell they're African elephant is that their ears are shaped like the continent of Africa, if you look closely.
Oh, wow.
Now, these two elephants here